Flip me a fiver.
How's everyone doing? I am glad that a lot of you are drinking because it is going to get deep and you're going to need therapy.
You got 8 minutes to get deep, so.
I only need 2. Just kidding. So, I'm not from here, as you can tell by my accent. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio originally, and I've lived in 13 states now in the last 20 years. And I know what you're thinking, and you're absolutely correct. Witness protection. No, I was in the Marines for a while, and then I had a radio career that lasted 15 minutes, and so I travel a lot for work, and you know, there's a few veterans or active service in here. We've all been in the recruiter's office, and the recruiter does the same spiel. Doesn't matter what branch of service, it's the same spiel. He promises you everything that you're not going to get, and then asks what you would like to do. My answer threw him off a little bit. I said, I want to get as far away from my family as humanly possible. And I know that most families are dysfunctional. In fact, you can't spell dysfunction without fun. But I promise that if you grew up with my relatives, you'd volunteer to jump in front of a bullet too. Some examples. We've all got the relative that likes to just brag about the most menial of accomplishments. Doesn't matter what it is, right? Couple of us? Okay. Well, I've got an Uncle Gary who loves, this has been 25 years, he loves talking about his cameo on a reality show. He's proud of it. And we all felt something special that night. Because I promise you, you have not lived until you've been flipping channels in the 8th grade and have seen a blood relative on Cops. I wish I was kidding. In my family, though, we like to one-up one another. That's just how we survive. Well, his baby brother decided that he was going to one-up the Cops appearance. It's now time for a teachable moment, by the way. I like doing teachable moments. If in your travels, you guys go out and you decide to commit a felony, say, a burglary, it's not a good idea to inform the hooker that you're about to shortchange where the blessed event is going to happen. Turns out she squealed. My aunt hates that story, and she says, it's not really responsible to tell family stories on stage. This is coming from the only woman I've ever met that had a court-mandated hysterectomy. I'm not saying that she's unfit, but something was wrong when child services was in the delivery room for her 9th. I thought I told that on stage as a joke one night. My sister said, how did you know that story? We tried to keep that hush-hush. I said, I was telling a joke. It just seemed plausible. So I'm telling stories about my family. Might as well tell you guys how I grew up. I grew up in your typical all-American broken home. My parents got divorced so much when I was a kid, we used to get Christmas cards from U-Haul. I spent time with both parents growing up. I spent time with my mom, and thanks to her, I didn't know what a grilled cheese sandwich was until I was 11. She was a horrible cook, and when I say horrible cook, the woman burnt water. My childhood was so sad, you could have put a Sarah McLachlan song behind it, and African kids would have sent me grilled cheese sandwiches. Mom had a unique way of disciplining us. She used a timeout. Then I went to go live with Dad, and he used his own form of timeout. He would wait to whatever game he was watching on TV to go to a TV timeout, and then he'd beat my ass. Up until I was 10, I thought the 2-minute warning was how long I had to get out of the room. And one of those experiences, you think when you turn 15, I'm 15 years old. My dad's barely breathing. I'm gonna go fight the old man. You do that once. It turns out that resting up for about 10 years built up a lot of energy. And he didn't like being called a bald old man, and at 41 years old, barely walking, a throat punch still hurts. Yeah, ha 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 ha. So the crazy gene, I would love for it to say that it skipped my generation, but it didn't. I've got a sister who's a couple months older than me, and I like to tell people that we've got the same mom. I was just 2 months late. But my dad, you know, he liked a lot of women in the late 70s, early 80s. That was his business. But my sister, she got married a number of years ago, and I was asked if I was going to go to the wedding. And I was living in California at the time. I didn't feel like going to the scene of the crime. And I say that because we were taking bets on how long the cops were going to get called at the reception. I won on the over-under of under 30 minutes. Because 2 redneck families plus open bar equals somebody's going to jail that night. Ironically enough, the police knew half of my family, and they weren't on the guest list. So that is my blood, ladies and gentlemen. At least, that's what the last DNA test said. But thank you all very much. This has been a lot cheaper than therapy.